All right, check it. Let me move the mic closer. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode in the series of Breaking Free from the Matrix. Where I'm going through the Bible, going through different books, breaking them down, and going chapter by chapter and explaining it. And we just finished James, so we are going to somebody requested, and I'm so grateful that you requested it because this is honestly my favorite book in the Bible. Proverbs. Like, honestly, if you are somebody who is just getting into the Bible, just getting into your faith, your walk with God, Proverbs is such a gem. Like, I honestly, what I personally do is I can read Proverbs over and over and over and over and over again so many times. And every single time you read it, it just gives you so much more wisdom, so much more knowledge. So what I'll do is, let's say I'm reading whatever it is. I done already read Proverbs. I have no idea how many times I read Proverbs. I'll read a chapter or a couple of chapters of Proverbs, or I read certain verses, like in a certain chapter. Like I may read over scripture over and over and over and over and over again, and then I'll go read like, let's say, Kings, or let's say, whatever, like Matthew or something like that. Then I'll go read like another book, right? But I make sure that I always, always, always like to read some type of a form of Proverbs every single day. So let's just get straight to it, man. Chapter one. This, I'm telling you, every single chapter is a gem. Every single chapter has so much wisdom, so much knowledge in it. And I'm super duper excited to get straight to this one. So let's get started. So, also, as always, I'm going to have it up here on the screen, but I'm going to be reading it out of the King James Version out of my book. So, let's get straight to it. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity, to give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. This is very, very deep, right quick. To give subtly to the simple, to just give, like, wisdom is free to give. King Solomon talked about it in the whatchamacallit, the Apocrypha, and the wisdom of Solomon. It talks about it, like he's like, yo, wisdom is free to give. Like, I just love to give wisdom, to give subtly, because not giving to people is not all giving to the simple minded, like people that are simple minded. It's not just always money. Like when the Bible tells us to give, it's not always just about money. You can give back wisdom, you can give hope, you can give understanding, you can give those type of things. So that's something to always give back, to give subtly, to give peacefully. Subtly means to like just give peacefully, like without any, you're not looking to gain something from it, you're just giving like very peacefully, like it's just naturally, like that's something that you just naturally want to do, right? A wise man, this is deep. Verse 5, let me make sure that I have it up here. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. You will hear the truth. You will hear, and it makes you, like, you have like a dopamine rush. You want to increase your learning. So how do you increase your learning? Read. This is how you increase it. You read the Bible, and you don't just read the Bible just to read it, because it's like it's no point in reading the Bible if you're just gonna read it just to read it. You read it, and like what we're doing, like in this chapter, like that's why I'm showing you guys like how to actually do it. To really take your time, verse by verse, to understand, how do I increase learning? Okay, let me continue. And how can you get into a state of increasing learning? For one, you have to kill off your flesh. You have to resist your flesh, because when you're giving into your flesh and you're giving into the world, what you do is open up strongholds. Now you're putting yourself in positions where you got to keep on battling strongholds and battling X, Y, and Z. So instead of you being fully focused on learning this and increasing your understanding and learning, you're trying to fight off this attack and this and this, and you allowed all these people into your life, these negative people, these agents into your life, and now you got to deal with this, now you got to deal with that. Like, you can, and the enemy can use all those people. You can never really sit here and just lock in and hone in for however long that you're spending. Your phone is always blowing up in X, Y, and Z. These are ways to increase learning. First, you got to actually submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he shall flee. We talked about that in what was it, James, right? If I'm not mistaken. But once that happens, then it's like, okay, now let me lock in. How can I increase learning? Continue to read the Bible. Read it over and over and over again. The word is the present, the past. There's nothing new under the sun. The Bible teaches us every single thing. It talks about that in Ecclesiastes as well. Might do that series next. But and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels, meaning a man of understanding. You surround yourself around wise people. You're not casting your pearls to swine. Now, that doesn't mean like you are better and you think like, oh, I'm better than everybody, I'm only surrounding myself around X, Y, and Z. No, that's not the case. It's meaning you have the discernment to know the people to be around. You shouldn't be like surrounding yourself around people who are just willfully living in sin and to willfully just like are in the world and stuff like that. You're not supposed to be surrounded by that. You're supposed to surround yourself. Think about the disciples. They were surrounding themselves around each other, wise counsels. They were surrounding themselves around that. Like you could see like all these people, they wasn't like they had a whole bunch of thousands and thousands of friends and all that type of stuff like that. Nah, they had the wise people, and the less is better. Having a few, one or two or three people that are wise and that are people that are truly about that and truly love you for you, not what you have, versus having 100 friends, it means more than anything, right? So that's something to always keep in mind, right? Verse 6, this is deep. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. To understand a proverb, this is what Proverbs is. Proverbs is just like a message, like to it's not necessarily a, if you want to put it into perspective, understanding a proverb is just like understanding a parable, like understanding the secrets, because God tells us that, well, Jesus tells us this in Matthew chapter 13 when the disciples asked, why do you talk in parables? And he said, this is why I talk in parables, because the secrets of the kingdom is for you, but for them it is not. When you seek wisdom, me and, let's say for example, me and somebody else, let's say somebody who's in the world and somebody who's not in the world. Somebody who's in the world, you can read the Bible and it's just like a foreign language to you. You see it and it's just like it doesn't click. Like you just read it and it's like you just read this 800 times and you can't remember a single verse that you just read. And you don't understand it. Like you don't understand what it means under the surface. And not only that, you're not able to see what's going on in the Bible, because the Bible, what's going on in the world always proves that the Bible is right. But you're not able to see, you're reading this, but you don't see what's going on in today's ages. You don't see how this is actually going on in today's ages. That's what it means to understand the Proverbs, to be able to break these things down verse by verse by verse, understand what the words mean, the interpretation of them. Just like a parable, to understand what the parable of the sower means, understand what the parable of the talents mean, and all this type of stuff like that. The words of the wise and their dark sayings, like you understand the dark stuff that's going on behind closed doors, right? The fear of the Lord, this is a deep one. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. This is why when you talk to certain people, like certain people, they may watch your video, and as soon as you start bringing conviction, as soon as you start bringing wisdom and stuff like that, immediately click off, dislike, or they have something negative to say about it, or they don't want to be around you. Like that's the truth about it. But the fear of Lord, when you fear God over man, that's the beginning of knowledge, because you stop caring about what others think, because you're going to get looked at as differently. You're going to get looked at as an outcast from the world when you fear God, because fearing God means keeping his commandments, keeping his laws. When you fear God, and we go back to what is it? Was it a wise man will hear and increase learning? When you read the Bible, the God tells us, like when Jesus was talking, a lot of Jesus talking was about the destruction that's gonna happen to the wicked. And when God talks to us about the things that he does to the wicked and what's going to happen to the wicked, that puts the fear of Lord in you. And it's like, yo, I don't want to be in the world. I don't want to commit these sins. My fear of God is so much more greater than me caring about what somebody thinks, because I don't want to eat pork, or I don't want to celebrate all these pagan holidays, because God, tells us in Jeremiah, to not celebrate Christmas, and he also says as well in Amos that he hates your feast days. He hates the feast days. So I would choose to do that because I see the destruction that's going on. Like, I don't want to be a tear. When Jesus comes back to separate the wheats and the tares, I don't want to be a tear. I want to be the wheat. So that's something to always keep in mind. Your fear of God has to always be greater than man. You can't, a friend of the world is an enemy of God. You can't try to be friends with the world and try to be a friend of God. It don't work like that. You got to pick and choose. Pick one. Verse 8. Let's go to it. Scary. I'm telling you, Proverbs I just love Proverbs so much, man. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and forsake not the law of your mother. One of the commandments, man. A lot of people don't listen to their parents as well, too. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto your head and chains about your neck. My son, this is deep. If sinners entice you, consent thou not. If people are trying to tempt you and people are trying to persuade you to sin, don't even be around them. This is what it says. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave and hold as those that go down into a pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. This is deep. Verse 14, right? Let's go. Let me scroll this up so you can see. Cast in your lot among us. Let us all have one purse. You see what a lot of people like, they like to do with wickedness. This is deep. Like, you have those friends like, let's just all put in on this thing right here. Let's just all put our money in on this. Let's just all put our this. Let's just all put it together and let's just do one big thing together. Let's all go in on a beach house or something like this, right? Let's go all in on the beach house, and let's go all in on the drinks and all this X, Y, and Z. We can have a big house so we can have all the girls, and you can sleep with all the girls if you're a guy, and vice versa for women, right? But you can do all this, like, you're putting in to just go do willfully sinning, to go get drunk and stuff like that. When God tells us to, not be a drunkard. There's nothing wrong with drinking, but it says don't be a drunkard. So that's something to keep in mind, right? My son, verse 15, my son, walk not in their way with them. Refrain your foot from their path. Now, just go away from them. Don't even walk your path. Don't even walk with them. Go the other way. Like, they walking this way, they doing that. Just walk the other way, man. Just go the other way. You ain't even got to be under that. For their feet, this is deep, verse 16, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. You ever notice that you ever see, like, in public, like, we've all seen this, like, we've even been victim of this. I'm not gonna cap, like, especially me in high school or in elementary school or middle school. Well, it wasn't really like that in elementary school, but like more in middle school and high school as I got like older. Every single time a fight broke out, right? Everybody's running straight to the fight. When people are like fighting and stuff, everybody's straight to it, phones out, everything like that. Me, I was the same way. A fight broke out, we all looking, everybody, we in the cafeteria, everybody getting up, going to see X, Y, and Z. Nobody trying to stop it or break it up, but nobody trying to, go get somebody to, end it. It's always that one person that does do that, which is, always, I'm always like, happy for them now. But me, I was that person. I was running straight. I was running towards evil. That is evil. When you're having discord, when you're having anger and wrath against a brother or sister, like back and forth, that's evil. That's wickedness, and we are running towards that. So always keep that in mind. Every time something happens, let's say somebody gets pulled over or something like that, some acts like people, not necessarily an accident, but like something happens. Everybody's always looking. Like, one thing to always keep in mind. This is a gym. This is one thing that I've learned, and you guys will probably see this as well. If you see accidents that happen, more times than not, the traffic that comes from the accident is not the accident itself. It's always people just being nosy. Unless the accident is actually in the middle of the road. If the accident is in the middle of the road, that's different. Like, people got to go around the next one Z. But if it's like the accident is like it's in a median, right? People are all the way over here, or it's on the other side of the street, right? This side is always like the traffic is so slow because what does everybody want to do? They always want to see what happened. They always want to slow down and look. That slowing down for a little bit, a couple of seconds, is what causes the traffic. Accident's not even in the road, but people are always running towards that. That's something to always keep in mind. Every time there's something wickedness and evil, they're always running towards it. Think about it like, let's use like movies, right? They even do it in the movies. Like, they just make it so obvious in movies or TV shows, right? Every time something like the scary movie, how it is, I don't watch scary movies no more because it's just like evil. But let's say like with the scary movies and stuff, right? Or X, Y, and Z, something is always happening. Everybody's just running to it. They know that it's a scary noise. They know the bad guy or the monster or whatever it is, the evil person is there, and they just like, yo, I'm gonna go check it out. Like, come on now, like that type of stuff, right? So let's go to verse 17. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privately for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which takes away the life of the owners thereof. This is deep. You see a lot of this in today's ages. A lot of people are so greedy of gaining money, fame, status, X, Y, and Z. They're so greedy in it, and then it takes away your life because you spend all this time trying to make a bag and run up a bag and trying to prove somebody wrong, X, Y, and Z. You just wasted all your life. You just wasted your life trying to prove somebody wrong. You just waste. Yeah, you got the money, but what does it come with? The Bible talks about it in what was it? What's the chapter? What does it profit a man if he gains the world, but loses his soul? Let me find that scripture real quick. All right, here we go right here. Mark chapter 8, verse 36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Like, what does it profit you, right? So let's go back to this. If it'll load. It's not loading. All right, there we go. Boom. All right, so let's go to verse 20. Wisdom cries without. She utters her voice in the streets. Wisdom actually like seeks people. Wisdom is right there. The Bible says that if any of you lack it, ask in God, and He should give it to you freely, right? But wisdom is not something that is like so hard to find. It's right there. She's actually seeking people to give wisdom to, right? So she cries in the chief. Well, without I read that. She cries in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city, she utters her words, saying, like, she's everywhere. She's crying out everywhere. She's crying out everywhere, right? How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out, meaning pour. It's like pour, dump it out. She will pour out her spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you, meaning you will be able to understand. That's what it talks about it, to be able to understand the Proverbs, to understand these words, right? Because I have called you. I have called you, meaning wisdom calls us. Wisdom calls us, right? I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded, but you have set at naught all my counsel and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear comes as desolation, and your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish comes upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. It's like every time, like when it hits the fan, when it like they already like gave you the opportunity, wisdom gave you the opportunity, and then all of a sudden now you need something. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Think about it, for example, right? Like us as people, when you are, let's say you're trying to warn people, you're trying to help somebody, like, hey bro, like you tell them like, yo, like the people that you're around, man, like, hey, they not good for you, man. Like, yo, look at their spirits, X, Y, and Z. Like, you got to get right with God, man. You got to give up this life. You got to give this up. You got to stop doing this, right? You got to stop doing it. You warn them, and they laugh at you. They scoff you. Nah, man, you don't know what you're talking about. They all right, cool, and then boom, everything hits the fan. Now all of a sudden they want to come back to you. Now all of a sudden they want you to they want you to put them on game. Now all of a sudden X, Y, and Z. Once it hits the fan, then they come to you. And this is like a quick side note, right? Yes, we're supposed to give back to our enemies and love our enemies. But this is why it's always, always, always important to go to God first and don't go to a medium. You don't need man, go to God first. Because there are certain situations where God does want you, because you planted the seed in that person and God does want you to help that person. That's you. If God tells you to do that, help that person. But there's also another scenario, by you helping that person, that like you tried to warn them in X, Y, and Z, you helping that person is actually detrimental to them because they're coming to you first. Why aren't they going to God? That's what's like, yo, if they are they're hitting their lowest, that everything hits the fan, they're coming to you for guidance, when all in actuality, God just used you to warn that person of what's to come. And you tell that person, go to God. He just used you to spread the message and just to give them a warning. Now they have to go seek God, and God is going to bring them out of that storm. But when we always try to feel like we're no, because a lot of people can be so dependent on us, and they're more relying on us than they're relying on God. That's why you always should go to God first in every single scenario, right? So that's something deep to keep in mind. For they that let me see, where's that verse? Sorry, I should have had it up here. Verse 29, right? For they For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel and despise all of my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own and be filled with their own devices. That is deep. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkens unto me shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil. You won't be afraid of evil, man. You won't be afraid. You won't be afraid of evil. Hearkening to her, like going to her. And people will eat the fruit of their own way. So that's something to keep back in mind. Going back to 31 before I end this off. People will eat the fruit, therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. Meaning people will be given over to a reprobated mind. They will be lovers and pleasures of their own sin, their own doctrines, whatever it is, their own beliefs, their own that. They will be giving over to that delusion. They will be giving over to thinking, because it talks about this in Proverbs actually. It talks about it in 30. Oh man, where's it at? Ooh, 1 second. Let me find it real quick. Let me find it. All right, here we go. Proverbs chapter 14 is verse 12, right? Right here. There's a way which seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. There's like people now, what they're doing, it seems right to them. So this is why we don't like cast stones at people, right? Because you got to understand, like, people will be deceived. It talks about it as well. But, like, people will be deceived. They were given over, and they would deceive others. They're giving over to deception, and they would deceive others. So they think that what they're doing is actually the right thing, but in reality, it's the wrong. So you can't like cast stones and throw stones at those people. You just got to use your discernment to understand right from wrong. So like people that are like, let's say, trying to do things in a right way. Let's say, for example, like, let's say they should, therefore, like we said, they should eat the fruit of their own and be filled with their own devices. The fruit of their own people, and people do things in their right way. Let me pull up the scripture because I gotta share the scripture that shows this, because this is all like precepts. It correlates to one another. You know, people that will see somebody who's poor and see somebody who's homeless or X, Y, and Z, and what do they immediately do? Off the top, yo, how can I make a series out of this? How can I make a bag off of this off of YouTube? Or not necessarily they think that way, because not everybody's like that, but somebody's like, yo, like they generally really do want to help this person. They really do want to see this person like get better, but their first thing is like, yo, I want to record this to like show people. Like, what are you showing people? Like, I want to record this to show people. It's like, yo, I'm helping this homeless person X, Y, and Z, and their intentions are good. Their intentions are good. People, we should all be giving back to the homeless. We should all be giving back to the poor. But this is what Christ himself says, not seer. This is what Christ himself says. Let's go to Matthew chapter 6. Take heed that you do not that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise, you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. So, people that have the intentions of trying to be nice and kind, of let's say giving back to the poor and stuff like that, but you're recording it and putting it on social media, you're putting a camera in somebody's face who's like literally at their lowest. Like, imagine, put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if somebody just randomly came up to you and put a camera in front of your face, and you end up seeing that video got like 10 million views of you at your lowest and stuff like that? Like, yo, that's, nobody wants to be in that position, right? You wouldn't want to be in that. That's what you're known for. You're known for being a homeless guy that somebody else helped out. Like, essentially, who's the person that's getting more glorified? The homeless person isn't the one that's getting the glory for the most. Like, they're getting like the attention, but the person that recorded it and posted it, everybody's, oh, you're such a great person, X, Y, and Z, da da da, which is a good thing. Yes, that's a good thing that you're doing that. But this is the warning from Christ himself, not from seer, from Christ. You will not receive a reward from God from doing this. You don't get a blessing from doing it. Just like, and correlates to all precepts of the scripture of like, yo, the guy who's like, yo, I've done everything. I prophesied in your name, X, Y, and Z. I did all of this. And Jesus like, yo, who are you? I don't know you. Like, who are you? I don't know you. Get away from me. Like, that type of things. Like, people that are doing it in their own way, you're giving over to those own devices. So here we go right here. Therefore, when you do your alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Right? Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. And what is their reward? The likes, the views, the followers, all this X, Y, and Z. I did a video about this in the past as well. But I guarantee, like, you go to YouTube, and everybody can do this right here. I'll even do it as well in a second after I'm finished reading it, just to give you guys like, show you guys what I mean. But to finish off this, but when you do alms, let not your left hand know what your right hand does, that your alms may be in secret, and your Father which sees in secret shall reward you openly. And it talks about it as well in verse 5. It talks, and a lot of people do this, and it's like there's nothing wrong. Not it is something wrong with it because Christ says there's something wrong with it, but some people are doing it with good intention, but you're not supposed to do it. When you pray, you shall not be as the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the street, that they may be seen of men. When you're praying, you're not supposed to be somebody who's getting on a video, yo, everybody bow your heads or something like, let me pray for you. Like, even though people do it with good intentions, that's not what you're supposed to do. Everybody that you want to pray for them in private. That's when God will hear you, right? That they may be seen of men. Verily I say to you, they have their reward. You're not praying to God. God is not hearing that prayer. You're getting your reward from them. This is what Christ is telling you, not what Seer's telling you. I know the messenger, everybody wants to shoot the messenger, right? But this is what Christ says. But when you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to the Father which is in secret, and your Father which sees in secret shall reward you openly. But when you pray, use not vain repetition as the heathen do. Don't like pray and just keep on saying the same things over and over and over again, right? But that all like it correlates back to this verse in Proverbs, right? People will eat the fruit of their own. People think that is right, but it's actually wrong. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about real quick, and I'll end up the video. Let me go to YouTube. All right, so let's just look at this for a second. Let me make this a little bit smaller so you guys can probably see it right there. Boom. Giving back to the homeless on YouTube. Look what happens. You go to the views. Look at it. 1.2 million, 7 million, 54 million, almost a million, 34 million. They always have all these bunch of views, right? 5.2 million, 1.6 million. Well, that's them be like 7 million, 146K, 15 million. Like all these things. Surprising my homeless brother, 16K. What's his name? JD Youngin passing out homeless, passing out food to the homeless, feeding the homeless. Like they always get all the views and stuff like that. But you guys gotta understand, like that's their reward. That's not what we're supposed to be doing, right? Even though they're doing it with good intentions, that's just what we're not supposed to be doing. And when you seek wisdom, when you seek God and seek understanding and read the Bible, you will see that, oh, it tells us this right here. I shouldn't be doing this. This is where it goes back to the fear of the Lord as the beginning of knowledge and understanding. I would rather do those things in private and give back and pray for people in private to get rewarded from God than to do it in a way of man. Because you don't have to be somebody who, let's say God is blessing you with abundance of wealth, and you're not sitting here telling everybody, oh, I give back to the home, I give back to X, Y, and Z. You don't have to prove nothing to none of those people. You don't have to say, oh, I'll give back to the X, Y, and Z. I do this. You don't need to tell anybody that you do that. God is going to bless you for that. Let people think of you any type of way they want to think. It's like, oh, this person makes this money and he doesn't give back. Yes, you do. You just do it in private. You don't do it to be seen by men. Let them do that. Let them scoff. Let them hate. It doesn't really matter, right? So that is chapter 1. I'm telling you guys, this is probably going to be my most favorite series of doing this. Loving doing this. So I will do chapter 2 and continue to do this. But other than that, love you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.